Good evening, everyone. Or no one. No one's watching just yet. That's all right. I'll entertain myself. Uh, you may notice our friend and co host, Craig Bragg, is not here. He's taking a little hiatus from social media, but he's all right. Uh, in his honor, anytime on Twitter I see a tweet from Justin Trudeau, I just reply, resign. So it's like he's with us in spirit. Ah. Now, you may notice the title. A little strange, because I don't know much about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, except that she died. And I saw this from G Money in the Bank. He tweeted, I'm so sad to hear that Ruth Bader Ginsburg died of COVID-19 with comorbidity from advanced pancreatic cancer. Hashtag RBG RIP. Hashtag Notorious RBG. Thank you for that, G Money. That's fucking hilarious. I don't know exactly what this means. There's an opening now on the Supreme Court. Will Donald Trump be able to appoint someone? I'm not sure how that works. I remember there being some hullabaloo at the end of Barack Obama's second term that the Republicans didn't want him to appoint a new Supreme Court justice because it was too close to the end of his term or something, but I don't think that actually amounted to anything. I do believe that somehow the Congress or the Senate has to ratify the selection regardless, which means that in certain cases somehow the Democrats could block the appointment of a new Supreme Court justice who would likely be more to the conservative side. But see, the difference is that this is Donald Trump's first term. There will be a second, so it would be like a continuation of the same presidency were he to appoint someone now at the end of this term. Again, I don't know all the details on those kinds of things. So it's all right. No one's watching anyway. I did find this strangely interesting. I have made complaints about YouTube and my channel that anytime I create content or even do a live stream, I lose subscribers, right? Occasionally, it doesn't matter how many views the video seems to have gotten, I don't get that many new subs. Now, what's really interesting is that in the 2 weeks or so, maybe 3, hello, Costin, thanks for coming. In the few weeks that I haven't been producing content or doing live streams, and I want to be able to say, oh, Craig said he was taking a hiatus, so I thought that was a good idea. Really, I just got busy and a bit lazy and haven't done anything. But during that time, I gained a strange number of subs. And the moment I opened StreamYard and started creating this broadcast, I lost a subscriber. So I don't know if they just unsubbed in that single moment, or if I'm absolutely correct that every time I post something, YouTube just fucks me and is trying to encourage me to not make content by allowing people to subscribe when I'm not making content. Costin, how are you? Good to see you. Tell me what you know, if anything, about Doug Ford pre-planning the lockdown. I have banners for this. Why aren't I using the banners? Apparently, regardless of the numbers, because they don't know them yet, they can't see the future. Doug Ford's Ontario government has decided there will be a lockdown just before Thanksgiving, that we will in fact go backwards from phase 3 to phase 2 or phase 1. What the fuck? What the fuck is up with that? Because I'll tell you, I'm not a germaphobe, but I don't want to get sick. Who likes getting sick, honestly, right? But I'm not one of those carry my alcohol sanitizer and the handy wipes everywhere, and I don't touch doorknobs because I'm. But I don't want to get sick. Okay, this has happened to me at jobs where it's flu season. Boss's boss comes into our meeting and says, "Hey guys, there's been some call-ins. I know if you get sick, you don't want to come in, but really we need the help. It makes everyone's job harder if you don't come in. So, if it's not that bad, just come on into work. We'd really appreciate it. You're contagious before you show symptoms anyway, so you may as well just come on in." Yada yada. Goes on for about 5 minutes. And when he's finished, I'm like, "Louis, can I add something to that?" He says, "Yeah, sure." And I address the entire room with Louis there, the boss's boss. Talking about in the past? What? Elaborate for me, Costin. And I have said, everything our boss's boss just said is wrong. All right? The CDC, the WHO, every epidemiologist in the world disagrees with this. Just because you may have been contagious before you showed symptoms doesn't mean you shouldn't mitigate at all. You should. Uh, Flu kills 40 to 60,000 people every year in Canada and the United States. Mostly infants and elderly. But if you have that virus, don't bring it into a workplace where 1,000 people are for them to take home to their infants and elderly. Okay. And you never know when you're carrying the next pandemic. Thanks, my boss's boss. And sit down again. Doesn't even respond to it. Doesn't talk to me about it later. He knows he's full of shit. So I am aware not only of my paranoia about getting sick, but also aware of the actual information that's being released on a regular basis. Because at first we didn't have any information. And I thought the absolute safest thing to do, don't go out. We have to find out what's happening. But now we're finding out what's happening. This is not a pandemic. It never was. 94%, the CDC says, of so-called COVID deaths have an average of something like 2.6 comorbidities. That means 6% of all the deaths were otherwise healthy. And in terms of data collection, I've been going almost investigative journalist on this, where I am finding secret sources and links to people and doing like secret interviews. But again, I can't name the sources. But I know a guy who knows a guy whose wife's dad works for Stats Canada and was told by his superiors that this lady who fell down the stairs and broke her neck, but was previously diagnosed with COVID-19, you have to call that a COVID death. He was directed to call that a COVID death. He didn't have a choice. Yeah, that's fucked up. Maybe planning on going back on lockdown. No. Someone leaked this information. I can't remember where I saw it now. Yeah, I'm so unprepared for all of this. Like I said, I've just been busy and lazy, so I'm hearing the odd thing here and there and finding out information on my own time from people I know with the links I have, but I have absolutely nothing to show you. Sorry, guys. I know. So you look through some of my old catalog. I've done much better than this. Sources are evil. Sources are racist. That's what it is. But there was some leak that they already have like a date set for this rollback of the phases of reopening, that they're already planning on rolling it back. And that's just seriously, seriously disappointing to me because after, God, what was it, 15 years of liberal bullshit in Ontario, we really thought that it was going to be different. And it seemed like it was for a while. But then, one step Ford goes back on rescinding the new sex education for kids 10 to 12 years old. That was written by a convicted pedophile, largely. So he didn't squash that. So that was a huge disappointment. And there's been just a few other things that it's just been, look, you're supposed to be a conservative and you're not being a conservative. What was the thing? The emergency powers that they gave themselves. One member of the caucus voted against it, that their ability to just push it every month whenever they want, that they don't have to go through the whole rigmarole of getting those powers. She's been kicked out of the caucus. She's no longer part of the party. By lockdown, they mean pretending to work from home while smoking DMT and furiously masturbating. Oh, just me. You know what, Jeezy? I don't think I could masturbate in any form, let alone furiously while smoking DMT. So good for you. That's a fucking impressive feat. Wow. Where the fuck was I? Ah, yes, my disappointment in Doug Ford and the Conservatives. Just terrible. And now here with these lockdowns, like, I thought Ontario was open for business. And as of 2020, nope, shut it the fuck down. Are you fucking kidding me, guys? Really? This is the alternative to the Liberal Party? So terribly disappointing. A lady checking out heard there was a case in the area and freaked out. You know what's amazing? I've been moving from place to place, doing the odd job here and there. I routinely hear about, there's a case from someone who works in the building. And nobody else gets it. I'm starting to think that these people are lying about having it so they can take off work. I'm also starting to think that the asymptomatic cases that are being, my area is 2 counties. One case in 2 counties and she had a fit. I'm also starting to think that the false positives and asymptomatic cases are just being handed out like candy. Like, I even had a friend where I had told him previously that, oh yeah, there was a case here in this facility. And he says to me, oh, so you're going to go get tested? Why would I go get tested? I don't have symptoms. Oh, well, because you were in a building that, someone had it. So I asked him flat out, if you've ever been in a building where someone had flu and you don't have symptoms, do you go to the doctor to get checked if you have flu? All right, and there's this dead silence. And I told him, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but I'm betting you've never done that. And he says, yeah, no, I've never done that. So why would you do that with this? Why would you go put yourself out where the false positive tests are coming back constantly to be told that you are now an asymptomatic case when you haven't contracted it? Why would you do that? Why would you give them the opportunity to lie? Because that's the thing that's bugging me about this, is the way that I am so somewhat paranoid about disease. The information that they're offering, it's on the CDC website, it's on the WHO website. You add it all up. I'm not scared of this. It's not that I don't think it exists. It's that I think it's a very bad cold. And if you take the 94% having comorbidities number in Canada, with our total of something like 9,200 deaths, so-called, less than 600 people, fewer than 600 healthy people have died of this. Every year, we get thousands of otherwise healthy people dying of the flu. Why is this 600 number scaring us? Right. And this thing boggles me still. 2.6 comorbidities. Comorbidity means some other thing that also threatens your life. Right? We're talking about things like fuck you guys. Thanks for coming, really. I appreciate it. I'm so lonely. 2.6 comorbidities. Advanced diabetes, late stage cancers, HIV, heart disease. Pick something. An average of 2.6. The low end being 1. That means the high end has to be at least 6 comorbidities. How many comorbidities can one person have? How do you get 6? You got to be like 450 pounds with diabetes, terminal cancer, AIDS. That's 4. Heart disease is 5. Where's 6? What am I missing? What's the 6th comorbidity here? And this is the best part, is people with terminal cancers and AIDS, they don't generally die of that disease directly. What happens is their body can no longer fight other infections, and they contract a viral pneumonia and die of that. But now, when they get this novel coronavirus and die of the pneumonia caused by that, instead of being called an AIDS death or a terminal cancer death, that's called a COVID death. And that contributes to our 9,200 or so deaths. Costin, I ain't worried either. And that doesn't mean I don't care about you. That means I think you'll be fine. Jesus, fuck, my dude. Yeah. And at first we thought, smoking makes it worse because of, high rates of smokers in Italy. But apparently it was just old people. Smoking may actually make your body less habitable for the virus. That nicotine-rich environments, the virus doesn't do well. Smoke them if you got them, right? And at this point still, even when you count the 94% of people with 2.6 on average comorbidities, the average age of people who die of coronavirus is still higher than the average age of people who die. So when some asshole tells you, oh, you don't want to wear a mask or you don't want to follow the lockdown restrictions, you just want to kill grandma. Say, no, grandma's 82. And if she gets coronavirus, she has a much greater chance now of making 84. And that is mathematically correct. I've literally had 2 drinks, guys. 2. Okay, they have been in the past, 20 minutes? But still. Yeah, 19 minutes ago. 19 minutes ago. Okay. Should have made that coffee. Now. It's been a while. I don't have a co-host. I forgot how to do this. Sorry, guys. But like everybody else, well, almost everybody, when this shit started happening, I was very concerned. I wanted to stay safe and gather more information because I knew we didn't have enough information to make real claims about anything yet. And now the more information we get, the more it seems like nothing. And we can make predictions now based on the amount of information we have. And when the predictions come true, that means we're on the right track. So when we're predicting that we're going to have a spike in cases, but not a spike in deaths, co-hosts are evil. I blame Craig Bragg. Co-hosts are racist. And we find out we're correct, that means the asymptomatic strain has thrived, and the more virulent strains, if they ever actually existed, have at the very least been suppressed, if not outright made extinct. So we should be okay. But we're moving backwards in our phases of reopening, back into the lockdown. And this is pre-planned for Thanksgiving. Just for any Americans that might be out there, Canadian Thanksgiving is in October. So being end of September, yeah, that's quite a ways in the future that they can count COVID cases now. So not only, is every gunshot wound, car accident, and neck breaking, falling down the stairs a COVID death, we can count them into the future. That's how great the testing is. I hiked a mountain. Dude comes up to the top, sees me, we shake hands. Looks at me like, oh no, handshakes. Bro, we hiked up 3,000 feet to get here. Neither of us have a respiratory infection. Yeah, that's oh. And there's this strange thing that I'm seeing with the average person where that they believe if you're asymptomatic, you can spread it to someone and they will magically become symptomatic. And that's not really how that works. There are obviously some diseases that a certain person will be asymptomatic and everybody else will have symptoms. But those are highly specialized diseases that have evolved over hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years alongside us to hide that way. That's the only way they can survive because, for God's sakes, if we knew that that one person that had herpes on their face would spread it, we could just kill that person. And that would have been it. The cavemen would have killed that person and no more herpes. But it survived because there is an asymptomatic carrier. That's a different thing from an asymptomatic strain of a virus. And this virus, far more likely that there are asymptomatic strains and not certain people are asymptomatic carriers. Very different things. Very different. And people don't understand that part. And here's the thing with asymptomatic strains. Humans are made of cells. All life is made of cells. Trillions of cells in our body. Half of those cells are not our body. They're foreign entities. They're virions and bacteria and fungi that live on us and in us. Literally half of our cells. Right? Everything in this package, when you stand on the scale and weigh it, half the cells you're weighing aren't you. That doesn't mean you're an asymptomatic carrier of all those things. That means those things live on you asymptomatically. And it seems more and more to me like this virus is doing just that it doesn't even cause, for the most part, common cold, like some coronaviruses do. It's just gotten out of hand the way we still portray it and people believe it. And I am really beginning to worry, or I would be. Maybe just my circles of people are pretty cool. Like, honestly, most of the people I talk to IRL, they don't buy it. They don't buy it anymore. They're done. But we're polite and we're kind, and the store says wear a mask, so you wear a mask, and your employer says wear a mask, so you wear a mask, and you talk to your employer with your mask pulled down around your chin, and they have their mask pulled down around their chin, and everyone's saying, no, it's all bullshit. It's tyranny one step at a time, and everyone agrees. But we don't fight back. And I was just watching Joe Rogan and Douglas Murray having a similar discussion about that if the so-called silent majority would just stop being silent and start yelling back, it would be over. It would be over instantaneously. And we're not. And I don't expect it to happen in Canada. Because, yeah, it's sort of true. It's not that Canadians are polite. It's Canadians figure there's a better way to do it than being confrontational. And that's usually correct. Here it's not, because what's happening is proper oppression, right? The government, the globalists, whatever you want to call it, they're out to get you. And the only way to do it is for everyone to stand up at once and say, don't. Right? Who made the flag? The Gadsden flag with the line that just says don't. But you got to do it at once. Yeah, Toronto's done for. This is the petri dish for whether or not it will work other places. Basically, Toronto will use its money and authority to push outwards, and smaller townships and whatnot, they'll be overrun by stupid Torontonians spending money on other townships, police forces forcing people to do stupid shit. And the problem is not that there's so much money that they'll be able to exert this force. Again, Douglas Murray and Joe Rogan talked about this. When they make you put the sign up in your store that says, we support the Workers' Party, Workers of the World Unite. Every day when you walk into your own fucking store, you're going to see that sign, and you're going to know you're beaten. It's just going to demoralize you more and more. Like, look what's happening in Victoria. Right? There's some talk about how the police force that's behaving this way in Australia is actually a privatized police force that might be pushed by George Soros. Like, I don't know the truth of that, but I can't imagine fucking Australians putting up with that shit. I can't imagine Australian cops doing that, like, and thinking that this is fine. Like, if that's not a private police force and it's just Australians, they've lost their fucking minds. I don't see Aussies doing that to their own people. Like, I would sooner believe that every Aussie cop resigned or just blew flued and didn't go to work rather than enforce that shit that they're doing in Victoria. That's fucking nuts. And that, again, is a testing ground. And I expect it to happen in Toronto first. Something like what's happening in Victoria, Australia. Victoria is the what are they? Are they states? Yeah, they're states, right? Where Melbourne is. So it's happening there. I expect it to happen sooner where I live than other places in Canada. But if we don't do something, if we don't start, kicking and screaming, that's what we're going to get. I blame those other cells for all the times I fucked up. That It wasn't me drunk driving. I was letting the bacteria take the wheel. It's all true, Jeezy. Those other cells are Torontonians. Mm. Sometimes I want to feel like that. Like, and this is what's crazy. In Toronto, the people always vote for fucks like John Tory. The mass of votes that go out are for the Liberals on the federal level. And yet every person I meet, all right, now don't get me wrong, I do know some people that are staunch Trudeau supporters, Trump haters, some communists, but every time I meet a random person, nah, they're like pussyfooting around it until finally I'm like, Trump is the God Emperor, right? And they're like, yes, thank you. So many people, so many. And yet we still end up voting en masse for our own fucking demise. How does it happen? Someone help me, please. Literally help me, because we're 31 minutes into a stream. This is my third drink. I'm running out. Guys, come on. Thanks for coming, all. Thanks for the likes. That's really appreciated. But the real people that I meet are all level-headed. They all recognize that multiple ethics commissions violations, that man has to go. And yet we just keep voting for him. Wow. How do we do this? How does it happen when all the people I meet, and I'm starting to wonder whether or not our elections are rigged, right? Like, forget the fact that 2.4 million people that make up the Maritime provinces get 32 combined seats. Saskatchewan and Alberta together have like 4.8 million people, so literally double the population, and get 34 seats. I got family out east, East Coast Maritimes. Nobody voted Liberal. Nobody knows anyone that voted Liberal. How did they win? Like, those are small, tight-knit communities. They're all very connected and communicative. They share. They're not afraid to say, I voted this way. And good people, honest, salt of the earth people. No one knows anyone that voted Liberal out there. How the fuck did they win the Maritime provinces? Really? What am I missing? We've been voter frauded a long time. I actually yes, you know what? They wouldn't even ask you for ID anymore. They changed that shit. You know, fuck. Just ridiculousness. If you want to hop in, I'll send you a link. Just let me know. But and that, of course, brings us back to mail-in voting in the U.S. How many states? Does anyone know? Again, totally unprepared here. But at least a couple of states have made it. Oh, good for you. Good job. At least a couple of states have made it 100%. They're going to send out registration cards, ballots, and the mail back bullshit. And I love the claim that the Democrats are making, Democrat pundits, Democrat, what are they called? Watchdogs and whatnot, that, it's going to appear on election day that Donald Trump has won by a landslide. But after, quote unquote, mail-in voting, Joe Biden will have won in a landslide. And it just sounds so much like, after we've finished manipulating voting and cheated our way to the end, Joe Biden will win in a landslide. How can anyone vote for this guy? You know what? I thought the same thing about Trudeau in the second term. How could anyone vote for this guy? And they did. At least some of them. But so yeah, so this was more like a rant stream than anything else. 5 states, thank you, Messiah. 5 states are doing it. Wait, you mean 5 states exclusively are doing it, or 5 states are exclusively doing mail-in voting? Like there will be no physical ballots, because that's something different. Yeah. How many states are allowing mass mail-in voting versus how many states are forcing mass mail-in voting? Those are different things. Oh, those 5 states need to be fucking glassed. Sorry, citizens. Warn them now. Tell them to flee if they don't want this, and then glass the rest. Yikes. Yeah, that's basically, it's going to be. It's going to be great is that you're going to get like tens of millions of votes out of a state that has like 9 million people. Holy shit. Yeah, that's nuts. That's not even and I wonder whether or not that's constitutional. Again, no preparation. I have no sources. If a person wants to walk in and 28 others are mail-in without an excuse. Now, hold on. I think that's actually fairly standard, that you don't need to actually have like a note from your doctor or your mom or whatever for mail-in, but you have to request one. Right? So how many of them are sending out the ballot and expecting you to fill it and mail it? You need to provide an excuse. Okay. Okay, so 5 states have closed actual voting stations. And you have to mail in. How many? Oh, yeah. 28 others are mail in without excuse. The rest, you need an excuse. That's, wait, is that 17? And then, okay, but how many are just sending out the mail-in ballots while having polling stations open? Right? Because mail-in without an excuse would still suggest that you have to you have to ask for it. And at least if you have to ask for it, that's something. But if they're just sending them out the way that Tim Pool said that he got one to his address where that person no longer lives, that's fucked up. So, yeah. Because we had ID laws for quite some time here. Like, you had to provide not only your registration card, but your identification. And a lot of Western countries do this. I think it should be done. I was at the bank the other day. Yes. Okay. All right. Yeah. No, we're just having trouble communicating here because there's a delay and all that. Son of a bitch. So yeah, I'm asking my questions late. You're answering at a weird timeline. Here you go. Hop on it. It's in Discord. Okay. Yeah, you can say it in 3 minutes where we would be doing this shit for 20 if you let me. But I was at the bank the other day, and I'll tell it later. Here he is.
Irving, what the hell did I tell you about talking about
Boy, how are you?
Without a U.S. citizen on stream? Disgraceful.
Come again?
Told you not to be talking about American politics without an American on stream.
Again, see, it is a little confusing at this point.
Okay, so like,
even for Americans,
confusing.
Okay, so 5 states are mail-in only.
They are
by decree.
They are, yes, decreed exclusively mail-in voting. They will not be having any kind of in-person voting. The rest of them do have in-person voting, but you do also have to request a mail-in ballot if you would like to mail in by ballot.
So 45 states still have to request it.
Yes.
Okay.
And in 28 of those, you have to provide some sort of excuse.
Oh, wait. 28, because your comment was 28 are mail-in without an excuse.
Did I say with?
Or did you have those backwards?
I thought I said with. Okay, I did say without. Okay. I meant to say with an excuse.
Okay, let's.
Or no, wait. No, I do have it backwards. Okay, so 28 states you can request a ballot, but you do not need to provide an excuse as to why you are requesting that ballot.
Okay, but at least you need to request it. I think that's better. That's stronger.
Well, maybe not, because what's been happening in a lot of different states is that these ballots have been showing up at people's doors. I think the big state that was the breakout state like last week was like South Carolina, was a whole bunch of these states where people were getting these mail-in ballots that they never even requested. I know in my own state, my mother actually got her mail-in ballot that she didn't even ask for sent directly to the house. They sent me one too, but it was more like an application form for one.
Oh, okay. So they sent like a pseudo registration card that allows you to request it.
Yeah, basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to get people to vote that way, essentially. They're like advertising.
But they also sent out straight up ballots to some people that never requested one.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking weird. That's where it gets crazy. Because if you don't fucking burn that thing and the envelope it came in, I think you're in trouble. And
I
you know what?
shredded
Trump
the
made some
application.
joke on Twitter. Oh, good.
But
Because Trump made some joke on Twitter and people freaked out, right? Like, go vote, mail in your vote, and then go to the poll and see what happens, right?
they're
Like,
gonna tell you
double
to get
vote
lost.
Republican if they'll let you. But because, hey, you know what? If all these mail in votes count and they're collecting them early, if you voted on time, then they should see it and say, no, you already voted.
That's the way it's supposed to work in theory, but in a lot of states, they don't actually count the mail in ballots until like election day or the very afternoon of. So you could theoretically vote on both platforms. It's just a matter of whether or not you would actually get caught doing so. But the opportunity to vote fraudulently twice is most certainly there.
That's that fucking old timey gangs in New York voting scheme, man. Like that's oh yeah, and I'm starting to think that shit like that's been going on in Canada for a long time.
Well, I mean, Trudeau's still your prime minister, so
Yeah, exactly. And like I was saying, nobody knows anyone out east. Like, okay, Newfoundland specifically. So I don't know anyone in New Brunswick or PEI, but nobody knows anyone out there that voted for Trudeau. And yet every seat went to the Liberals.
those goddamn
Right?
Quebecs.
Hey,
Fucking French ruin everything.
Quebec does what they want, right? Yeah, that's not wrong, but except food, they do good food.
Yeah. I hear they really like their potatoes.
No, they like their snails and their carbs.
Okay,
But
okay,
they
never
do it
mind,
right.
never mind, never mind. That joke flew right over your head. And if I have to explain it to you, it's not going to be funny.
All right, let's go with that. But I'm still very concerned. While you're here, though, if you got a minute, Ruth Bader Ginsburg died of coronavirus.
Ding dong, the witch is dead. The Democrats lost their bench warmer, which was effectively all she was good for, basically, for like the last couple of years of her life. If Trump was not the president, she would have been allowed
very
to.
old and very sick.
She would have been allowed to retire years ago if Trump was not the president, and she would have been able to lead a fulfilling life for what she had left.
Well,
as
allowed
opposed
to,
to,
I mean, I guess they'd want her to stay, right? But
no,
she's
that was the whole
gone.
thing.
Yeah.
They wanted her to stay until the moment she croaked, and well, she did her job, and she did a pretty good job of it too, because it's September now, and we've got our elections coming up in November. There's no way in hell Trump's going to be able to appoint a court justice before.
That's what I
election
wanted
day.
to ask you about, because I don't know how the details of this work. I know that there was some bullshit at the end of Obama's second term when someone went out of the Supreme Court either by death or retirement. I can't remember. And he was rushing. Right, but the Republicans were all like, "Oh, you can't do that because you're not really president anymore," and some crap like that. But
no, he's allowed to do that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. It made sense that he should have. Now, obviously, it takes some time, and it has to go through. I'm not sure. Is it the Congress? Is it the Senate?
It has to go both through House and Senate. That's why it takes so
and,
long.
and the Democrats can actually do a fair job of blocking whatever
because they have
whoever
control over the House. Yes,
right, but there's rules, right? They can't block for no reason. They have to have legit reasons to block. But Trump won't be able to debunk those fake reasons in the amount of time he has.
What's probably going to end up happening is it's going to be another Kavanaugh situation where Trump's going to try to appoint somebody, and they're going to make a huge national case about it, and they're probably going to set up all sorts of hearings and trials and stuff to I guess reassess the character of whoever he picks. But the point is, it is going to take a really long time, and they're going to try and stretch it out until January, when, if all goes according to their plan, Biden will be president. But I have a sinking suspicion that if Trump wins re-election, which I am 95% certain he will, they're just not even going to bother.
Me too.
They're just going to say, yeah, okay, whatever, whoever you want, just put him in. We don't care. We've already lost. We got another 4 more years of you and our country being successful and people living happy and fulfilling lives, and that just makes us miserable. So,
and yeah, no, well, this is something that occurred to me. On the right, you have the concept of individualism and pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. On the left, you have this idea of being a collective. We have to support these people who are falling behind, yada, yada.
No,
but that means that what it means is, on the left, they need people to not succeed. That's how they get votes. So when they don't want people to succeed en masse. They at least need X percent of people to be downtrodden and not excelling in anything, so that they can say, oh, we have to help those people. They need them to suffer.
And what further compounds the issue is, in a lot of these places where you have high concentrations of those certain populations, those are Democrat-run cities. Those are the same places where they will tell them, yes, you're oppressed. No, there's nothing you can do about it. Vote for me, and it might get a little bit better. And that's just the lie that they continue to purvey, when if these people actually tried to get a fucking job or something, they would see an exponential increase in their life's quality.
No, and here's something that I see is that I understand sometimes there's no jobs. But what Trump was doing was creating jobs, or at least creating an environment in which jobs could be created.
It wasn't even just that he was creating jobs. He was creating like manufacturing jobs, like low skill jobs, things that people don't even necessarily need to put themselves through college to do. It's just like, it's a good paying job and you don't need any prior education. That it was basically pretty much designed for poor people to enrich their lives.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't need to be smart or educated. You just need to be willing. And that will make it, that gives you the opportunity to make your life better if you choose. But the left can't have that. They need a minimum percentage of the population to be willing but have no opportunity.
They need at least,
or 50, they can't exist.
51% or so, depending on how you.
No, I don't think they do. I think they need like 3 to 7% of the population to be willing but without opportunity, and need 40 odd percent of the population to feel bad for them. But if you eliminate that group,
I don't think that's
well,
typically
you know
how
what?
the demographic
I know
is
so
split up,
many
but
people. I just know so many people that are self-starters, well-skilled, work for themselves, offer their skills out, who say to me, "Oh, if I have to pay a little more in taxes to solve the problem, that's fine." But they're misled by the idea that if you pay a little more in taxes, that the problem will be solved. That's not how it works,
no, it's never
right?
how it
Because
works.
those people who your tax dollars are going to them, they're not enriched, they're not better off, they're just fed and then neglected beyond that, right? Like, and
I gotta crack open another Diet Pepsi for this.
oh, Pepsi's a 4-letter word in my house, boy. But you know what I mean, right? That do you want a person to be given food and a house, or do you want them to be able to create their own wealth?
I want them to be
Even
able to
if it's
create their
not
own
like
wealth
a lot of,
because I want them to be able to create their own wealth because then they're not my fucking problem.
well, sure. But even as a compassionate person, and
Which
we
I'm
can talk
not.
about the virtue of selfishness. We can talk about the virtue of selfishness if you want. But if you felt compassion, do you think you're being more compassionate to a person by giving them the minimum food and shelter they need, or by letting them earn what they need and more?
You know, Jesus,
Right? Like,
Jesus said in some sort of passage in the Bible at one point or another, if you take a man out to fish, he'll eat for a day. But if you teach a man to fish, he'll eat forever. I mean, not perpetually eating. Like cast his line out, pull a fish,
no,
and then
but
just stick it right down his maw right then and there. But you get what I mean, getting at, right?
well, I'm given to understand you're Jewish.
No, that's actually a lie being perpetuated by the Jews.
So let me tell you, it's give a man a fish, feed him for a day. Teach a man a fish, feed him for a lifetime.
Basically, yeah. That might be the way it goes. I don't know. I'm not a
Right.
fucking Christian. I'm a
And the
goddamn Jew.
left wants to give people fish. But the left wants to give people fish. And if there are no people that need fish, they disappear. If we teach everyone to fish, and I'm all for that, no one needs to be given anything because they have fish, right?
Right. Well,
And this is
that's kind of the thing. You never see a charity being set up for a gated community.
sure, of course not.
I mean, that's how I think it should be all over, the United States. Like maybe with like a small population that genuinely needs to be helped with, some form of charity. But I don't think that it should be like a nationwide thing, where we're supporting. God, I think we were up to like 48% of our whole population had some form of government assistance, which was stupid to me. That's way too much. Irving's drunk Canadian brain is trying to work.
Yep, I lost my train of thought. But I like this from Mr. Dex. The greatest thing you can do to another person is to make them as self-sufficient as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah.
And really, that's a lost art in America. I don't know how familiar you are with us, but with our history, but following the abolition of slavery and even going into like the pre-civil rights era, the black population in the United States was actually doing really well for themselves. There were a lot of suburban homes that were being occupied by black people, and yes, they were, especially down in the South, still segregated, but at the same time, they had a house, they had a car, they were having nuclear families and things of that nature. And all of a sudden, the government stepped in, more specifically, Lyndon Baines Johnson's declaration of war on poverty. And essentially, what it did was it replaced the father figure from the household and replaced it with subsidies from the government.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And that's where you get the stereotype about black kids. They never know who their father is because in a lot of cases, the fathers just feel like they are useless to the family unit as a whole because they've been conditioned to think that way.
Well, what's really odd is that up here in Canada, we don't have the same problem financially, familially with black people. We have that problem. No, we have plenty of black people in Toronto. We have that same problem by the exact same percentages with natives. Because we did the same fucking thing.
Except you didn't kill yours.
Sometimes. I'm sure they did. Yeah, no, there was. We have this
you
thing
didn't do
called,
a very good job of it. Not like we did.
Oh.
No, we did a good job of us. There's like none of them left. The only time you'll ever hear natives being brought up is like during like an Antifa rally or something like that. They'll say, "This is on stolen land." Yeah, well, they're all dead anyway. So what do you want?
BIPOC, yeah. BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, and people of color. That's you get an initial. Here you get a whole series of reserves and land and a special designation called First Nations. But we did the same thing. And what the problem seems to be is segregating an entire group of people from the greater population and everything that is involved with that. And you touched on it before that even segregated, there was groups that did very well, right? And then LBJ and other forces moved in, but those forces were fucking Democrats. They were on the left. And they ruined it for everyone because they need those people to be ruined. They need some group of people. If it's not separated by race, then they can separate it by class, and that's just straight up communism. But they need a class of people to suck balls and have no possible future. They need it. Otherwise, they don't exist.
Now they would be actually a lot smarter to be segregating or trying to segregate the population more by class than simply by race. It would be far more effective in terms of trying to organize a government takedown. I mean, we try and draw so many arbitrary lines on race and stuff, but at the end of the day, I think that there's a lot more resentment between different classes of people than there is between the different races.
But that's communism or capitalism. But you have to now weigh what's going on. You have to decide how much of that is choice and how much of that is forced. And now this is what's weird is I live in Toronto. Toronto is the first city in Canada that is majority minority. So we're 55% not white and 45% white. And I have run the gamut from being a son of an immigrant to being successful to being a piece of shit that runs with every other piece of shit. I'll tell you, it doesn't matter. All the people I've known who are immigrants, who are born here, who sell drugs or rob houses, the difference between all of us is the choices we've made.
Productive Canadian
That's
citizens.
But it's the perfect breeding ground to find the truth. You come here and you make a choice. That's it. Because if you choose to come here from Nigeria and you don't speak English when you drop into my fucking high school in the 9th grade, and suddenly at the end of 5 years of high school, because we did 5 years of high school in my high school years, fuck off.
Stupid
now
Canadian
you're getting an
education
engineering degree at the University of Toronto. All right. You had to choose to do that because you could have chosen to go sell drugs and run guns and shit. It happens.
Yeah.
But your choice is what makes it happen. And this is a great breeding ground for that. And it proves it that, as a white person who is the son of an immigrant, I am so middling, and it's all based on my choices. It like there's no denying it in a place like Toronto.
All right then. Let me ask you, Irving, what country did your parents come from, or one of your parents?
Okay, so exactly. My dad was born on a farm in Calabria, Italy.
Okay, so you know what most people would say to that? Oh my gosh, you're not even like white. I've actually seen people argue that like Spaniards and Italians are not white.
Okay. See, and here's what I find strange is that the Spanish from Europe are considered white, but Spanish-speaking people from South America aren't.
Well,
but
because
also
technically they aren't.
Oh, well, okay. My mom is Ukrainian German. Now, if anyone's white, it's Germans, but Ukrainians were Slavs and they got as much shit as anybody way back when. But also, Slav is the root of the word slave. You know why?
Right.
Because black people weren't slaves for all of history. Slavs were. The Slavs were fucking. Oh, they were tribal, shitty, horrible people for a long time. That anyone from all around the world, like, look at where they are in the world. Look at the risk board. Every culture could just attack that group of people called Slavs and take them.
Yeah, you know what's
And
even
the
worse?
word Slav is the root of the word slave.
You know what's even worse than being Slavic?
Hey?
Being Armenian.
Oh, I have 2 Armenian friends, and they'll get that joke, and they will cry a little bit inside like I have.
No, I'm just saying, Armenians get fucked
No,
over.
you're not
Like,
wrong. Also, that's fucking funny.
and they're technically
Jesus.
white.
Oh.
Well, then again, so our Middle Easterns technically are white, if you go by classification. It's weird how
No. Arabs are Arabs. Persians might be white. I don't know.
well, you see that's just the classifications that a lot of people. It's different between every person that you ask. Like some people will say like the native population of Japan, the Jomon, they were ethnically similar to Caucasians, enough so that you might be able to argue that they were technically quote unquote white, but from a genetic standpoint, that's technically not correct. In the case of like you said, Persians and stuff like that, they're similar enough genetically to be considered white.
They make
But-
fantastic rugs.
Those are the Indian. Racist ass.
Welcome. The bad six. Oh, thanks for coming in. Oh, I'm so happy to see you.
And they also bred
How are you?
beautiful cats.
They also fuck goats.
That's the value that I see in you. That proper realism, my dude. Yeah. Everyone goes wrong sometime, and I just need some hardcore asshole to point it out. Thank you, really.
Can I go
the
now?
Messiah does not let you down.
If that's your prerogative, you do what you want. I'm all about individual liberty. Thank you for coming, though. If you want to dip out,
Yeah, my only thing is like I'm not trying to run away from. Jesus Christ, Six, turn
No,
your
of course not.
fucking mic down, piece of shit. I can hear my own voice.
and that's the first time I've ever heard him clearly. But okay.
It's not on my end because
I'm not trying to like I'm trying to say I'm not trying to run away from you, Six. I'm just I got work in the morning, so
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that Irving stayed in line and he knew his place. He shouldn't be talking about American politics without an American on stream. So
I'll talk about America all I want. All right.
not until you move here.
You can suck a dick or you can hop on stream. One or the other. Those are your options.
Not until you
Let's
get a
do
green card, you bacon loving bastard.
You got a pretty mouth, boy.
You got a pretty mouth there, eh?
So this is what goes on in the mind of a laptop that is converting from metric to imperial and back. It's just like
Yikes.
this is the thought process, but within the CPU that's crunching this conversion from inches to centimeters and back.
Holy
Fahrenheit
shit.
to
We went
Celsius.
up in viewers. Thanks, guys. Thanks all for coming. Really. Holy fuck.
What?
Yeah. No. We gained viewers while you were on here, and I'm drunk as fuck, but I just wanted to say thanks for for everyone dropping in and popping up some likes and shit. Thanks, guys. Yeah, good job. But yeah, no.
Yeah, you're
No.
welcome,
We know
Irving.
you're
I've
not
been
running
drawing
away.
up all this interest in your stream. I've been doing all the legwork
No.
while you've been sitting there gargling down your booze.
Yep, and that's what I do, and that's I have good good
I need a
guests, and I
raise.
appreciate. And we would never suggest that any guest is running from another. Of course not, because we're all fucking ballsy ass motherfuckers here. So thanks for coming. If you want to dip out,
Depends. What direction are we taking the conversation into?
oh, 6.
Shit. Lesbian chess.
Okay, bye.
that's the greatest exit of all time. Like that's oh yeah, no,
I guess the
I don't do clips of my own streams. I'm gonna clip that. Yeah.
I guess
Oh yeah, that's a clip. Oh,
I guess he doesn't have much interest in the intricacies of lesbian chess. There's
60.
only one queen, and the rest are all pawns.
Ooh.
How you doing, Irv?
Little drunk now. How you
Yeah,
doing?
yeah. Me, I'm okay. I'm okay. So I had a wonderful day off, and so much revelry, and so the watching of ancient aliens, and just admiring the ever expanding quaff of Giorgio Seleucus, or whatever, however you pronounce the guy's name. He's the guy, you know the meme. Sucralose, yeah. So, for those of you, yeah, he's a character, because aliens. So it may not have been aliens, but it was aliens. So yeah, I've been watching. It was always aliens. So Ruth Bader Ginsburg died.
Yes, and that's gonna be a fun goddamn thing, at least at the Supreme Court level, right?
It's going to be eventful. Not to make light of the situation at all, but shit, yeah, it's going to be. Wow. So, of all the reasons that Democrats have to really, really fuck shit up, just to somehow pull off the magic, essentially, and unseat the Donald. This is certainly another gigantic reason for them to want to oust the Donald, and that's just. I'm just stating plain fact there. Yeah, it's it's even more than, say, something that is relatively temporary in comparison, like, say, the House or the Senate, or even a presidency. We're talking about the Supreme Court, where this is the supreme legislative, not was judicial or whatever. I can't remember. This too late at night for me to remember the terminology. But the Supreme Court is populated by people who are appointed, who do not leave that position unless they decide to, or they die.
Or they die. Yeah. And Messiah was saying, she was sort of forced to not retire and suffer through while she had the cancer. And, Chadwick Boseman suffered through and made multiple movies while he had the cancer. But I'm starting to think Messiah's right that they had some kind of pressure over her to continue to be in this role, right?
Yeah. They either had some dirt on her or dirt on people that were important to her in order to keep her in the position, or it's just this off chance that she may have been some sort of true believer and just so on and so on and so forth. But I think it's rather the former rather than the latter. There was some monumentally compelling reason, and it's usually some sort of blackmail. That
I think it's simpler. I think if anyone had Trump derangement syndrome, she would have Trump derangement syndrome. And she would have fought to her dying breath, and she did. But she was wrong.
Yeah.
If there's a hero of this story, it's Donald Trump. And she's not a villain. She's just another fool.
Yeah, she's just another
Or a girl.
Just another pawn in the chessboard. It's arguably one that's in a position to make the kind of changes somebody on the Supreme Court would be able to, but certainly a pawn nonetheless, being used by people that perhaps were instrumental in fueling a lot of her irrational fears about the current sitting president. And you're going to have to explain it. The pre-planned lockdown.
Oh, yeah, no, that's for my province specifically.
Okay.
But yeah, no. Yeah, I was way late and I changed the banner now. There we go.
Okay, yeah, so it was pre-planned lockdown.
But Pox Toxic, I haven't spoken to you in a long time. Jump in if you can, really.
Jump in, Pox, and do your crab dance.
Yeah, I'm sorry I haven't been around, really. And this is not a great state in which to meet me. Yeah, but please, if you can, you've got the link. Jump on in.
So, unfortunately, I am unable to crab dance. I was born in May, not June. So yeah. So I can give you a lot of bullshit because I'm a Taurus, but I don't know.
Oh, but thanks for, at the very least, thanks for watching. Right. Yeah, no. We'll do it off air. Okay.
We'll do it off air.
But this is a weird time, right? That
oh yeah,
Trump can appoint a new justice, right?
Yeah.
And yet And they can block him. They can propose. He's going to run out of time. So he needs a second term to appoint a new justice, right?
That's the way the Vegas odds are looking right now.
Yeah.
And barring some kind of massive election fraud, there's not much chance that Trump is not going to win. Either intentionally or unintentionally, or a combination of both or all, the Democrats have pretty much made sure that there's no way in hell they're winning. And it's not just on the national stage. I'm talking about state and local as well, because of all the COVID business and because of all the riots and the looting and so on and so forth. The faith in Democratic leadership is in the shitter right now, and I would not be overly shocked if the red wave that we're about to experience in the United States is going to be roughly akin to the same kind of wave that necessitated some dude and a bunch of animals to build a boat to escape a global flood. It's looking that way. Yeah, Democrats on all levels, their positions are in jeopardy. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
Over the last 6 months, just the last 6 months, leadership in predominantly Democrat-controlled cities and states have shown just how poorly they've been able to perform under extreme circumstances. We're talking pandemics. We're talking natural disasters. We're talking riots.
Yeah. No, that's the major thing for me, at least. But go on.
So they've pretty much showed the entire country, not just their little pocket of influence. They've shown the entire country just how incompetent and ready to be removed from their positions. It's just, it sucks that it takes something like this to show people just how much these long-standing blue areas need significant change.
Yeah.
Because the Democrats have been in power so long. We're talking half a century or more. 50, 60, 70 years. And nothing has gotten better. In fact, for all intents and purposes, things have continually gotten worse, or even worse than that, stayed exactly the same, stayed the same kind of shithole.
Yep.
That they promised.
Yeah.
Over half a century ago would become some sort of new progressive utopia. Has it? Nope, it has not.
And now, like in Baltimore, Kim Klacik. She went on The View, and these motherfuckers were feeding her all kinds of bullshit. Right? No, she was just tearing into them, and they thought like Joy Behar was like, oh no, the black community supported me. What bit, motherfucker? You're literally the problem.
Joy Behar is a former, from what I understand, she was a former school teacher turned comedian.
But Kim Klacik of Baltimore, right? You're familiar with this woman?
Somewhat. I've heard the name before.
Yeah, you saw her ad walking through Baltimore with the red dress and the nice heels and shitty ass Baltimore.
Yeah.
And she's being a proper conservative, right wing, and The View tried to tear her a new one, and she just ripped them until they had no recourse but to cut them off. They cut off Kim Klacik.
Yeah.
Oh, that was like, I am a little too drunk to have a proper conversation, but I would not cut off you if you told me I was wrong. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So, yeah, Ruth Bader Ginsburg is no longer with us.
Yeah.
So that means the shit show is going to commence here. Now, I suppose the best plan A that the president could go with is to pick the most dead center moderate he can possibly get a hold of.
But slightly leaning.
Yes, just slightly right leaning. And it's really not going to matter who he picks. They're going to get the Brett Kavanaugh treatment.
Yep. Yes.
They're going to get some
100%.
some shrill harpy from whoever's passed that may have just only been sort of an acquaintance, and there's enough plausible placement within this person's past, like, oh, they say they were part of the same cooking club or same knitting club, or I don't know what a good example would be.
Look for the 6 degrees, right?
They use the same soda machine every day, and then she was raped next to the soda machine, and she didn't even get her soda. Yeah, it's going to be something ridiculous like that. Even more ridiculous than the whole, what the hell was that squeaky chick, Blasey Ford, and her squeaky chick story about that woman's voice was annoying.
No credibility, no evidence, no nothing, but they'll buy it.
Yeah, because they're ideologically driven to buy it. Because they have a dog in that race. And by golly, that dog's got to win. Or They will run that dog to death just to freaking get it as close to the finish line as they possibly can.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
And yep,
They run
that
that
was Ruth
dog
Bader Ginsburg.
around. And whew, done and gone. She's toast. And
Yeah,
that's hard, man. That's rough.
it is. It is. It's a rough reality to realize that they used this woman up.
I
It's
say it like
Is
go ahead.
it is about as dehumanizing a thought as possible, that they used this woman up like she was a tube of toothpaste. They squeezed every last bit out of her. Like she was a bottle of sunscreen. They squeezed every last bit of her out and just threw the empty container into the trash because good gosh, we gotta circle the wagons now. That bad old president, Orange Man bad. He's gonna pick somebody.
See, I'm conflicted here because if she believed it, I'm actually for her, despite the fact I disagree with her.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I'll tell you this. If I fucking die drinking and ranting on the internet and having people like you and Craig supporting me, I don't think that would be a wasted life. And if she believes what she believes and fights for it and dies voicing it, yeah, it might be a token death. It might be something they can milk.
It's like the guy.
I don't blame her for it. I don't hold it against her. I don't even hold it against the people that hold it up as a shield. Or guy, if I die of a heart attack preaching what I like, what I love, and my individual freedoms, and you hold me up as a shield, that's a life well lived for me. Okay, if I'm someone that you can do that, I did good in my life. I don't care right or wrong. If someone holds me up and says that guy believed this and he died drinking and smoking and fucking just railing on the internet, and I believe in him, I did something right.
Well, Irving, as long as I can sell Irving Twin Hail Sigmar t-shirts on my TeePublic.
Cheers to you. Cheers to my life. Right? That's what I'm saying.
Hail Sigmar.
I fight for it. I believe it. And I might be wrong. We might be wrong. But let's all get together in this horrible. It's a dark place. Free speech. Oh.
Yeah. Well,
it's a horrible place. It takes a brave, wise person to delve into this shit.
Free speech is not for pussies.
Yep. Oh. We have to some of us drink to cope. Some of us are psychopaths. Some of us are liberals, and I think they've been tricked. But I don't think less of them for having that fire, for having that
It's better to be wrong and be honest about it than being wrong and full of shit.
yes, yes. If they buy it, if they believe it, and they think that's the best way forward, I respect them. But there are some bad actors out there that
Yeah.
know that what they're doing is wrong. And
Those sons of bitches have got to go.
see, but as a proponent of free speech and free individual liberty, they can't go. They have to be out there. And I support their bullshit right to be a cunt.
Well, my good ideas, I have every right to combat their bad ideas with my good ideas.
and that's where we find ourselves. And I want to do that. And I think that dark combative place is where we all have to go. That's Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She may have been wrong in my eyes, but she was a solid competitor. She was a proper fundamentalist who I believe was wrong, but also was a strong voice on that side. And respect for her. Absolutely. And am I glad she died on the Supreme Court? No. No. But will we take advantage? Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to.
Yeah.
That's the fight, man. That
That is
should
the
be the
fight.
fight. The fight be uh conceptual, fundamental, not violent. Violence, no, that's the antithesis of what we, the drunk and the wise, should do. We should avoid the physical confrontation. We should have a proper intellectual confrontation.
Yeah.
And yeah, with me as your opponent, you'll do well. So you'd better come correct because I can debunk a lot of your shit even in this state. So come to me.
I
I'll
have
have it.
I have seen it with my own eyes. The prowess of the inebriated Irving twin as he dismantles the bullshit espoused by people who don't fully grasp just how full of shit they are.
Because physical violence accomplishes nothing but proper discourse, drunk or no. If you can't beat me, you can't beat the best. So welcome. I I I encourage it. That's all. Uh 6.
Yep.
I'm falling off, so I want you to do a shill. What's going on with you? Pox,
Well,
my boy never showed up. We'll see
well,
him next time.
yeah. We'll see you next time, Pox. I guess my shill would be check out the next live streams channel sometime. I guess in the next day. That's been kind of the pattern that my recently held uh, hideouts and henchmen is not immediately put up there. It's usually like 12 to 14 hours before the damn thing is actually visible to most people. But I have the link out every in a few different places in Discord and Twitter, that if you want to watch the hideouts and henchmen from this afternoon, you can do so by looking through the Twitter machine to find the linky link. Which means you should be following me on Twitter the next 6 minutes. Tomorrow's going to be fun. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about time travel. We're going to be talking about time travel on the 60 Vibe stream for September. And it's going to be a far out sci-fi epic of a stream. And we're going to get down and dirty with some science and perhaps some science fiction. And maybe talk about food. I don't know. But yeah. 60 Vibe stream tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, which would be 6 p.m. for all you guys in the Central Time Zone.
Perfect. Okay. So thank you all for coming. Sorry I got this drunk, except that's what happens when I go these hours. Woo! But we're going to call it. I don't need to ask you to sub and watch and all that because you're on my stream. But good night, guys. Thank you for coming, and follow the next 6 minutes. Pox Toxic, the Messiah of Keck. Do your research. Find these guys. I'm out. Good night. Thanks for coming. Hail Sigmar.
Hail Sigmar.
Buttons. Oh. Buttons are pressed. Oh.